Hey guys, be sure to check out the Mortar Pod, our weekly video podcast, and also check out the tutorial video for my board game, Travelers of Storia. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're doing another M15 Swiss Draft. And we've got Cone of Flame in here. I think that's going to definitely get the first pick. Cruel Sadist. Better than I first gave it credit for, but I don't know. She can be a liability sometimes. She's all right. I mean, really, what more can you ask for from a one-drop black creature than gets bigger, can kill things? That's pretty good. Living Totem, Swift Claw, a couple other notable picks in here. Nothing else too outrageous beyond the Cone of Flame and Cruel Sadist, I would say. All right, well, Borderland Marauder, nice aggressive card. Drubai Merklurker, good card if you're in blue-black. I feel comfortable with the Borderland Marauder. It's a pretty aggressive, powerful card. Nothing else, yeah, not really that much else in here. The Old Grind Clock. One of these days, I probably won't make a mill deck, but it's cool that the option's there. You'd think mill would be okay in this format, especially since the black-green deck is pretty popular, and they'll be self-milling, so if they're self-milling and you're milling them, theoretically possible to mill them out. Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy Marauder here. Alright, moving into Bloodseeker, perhaps. Seems reasonable. Color scheme's fine. Did it always have this thing that says reserved card, or was it just out of the way before? Sliver Hive was awesome for me the first time, and then kind of screwed me over a couple times. Second time around. Screwed over my colors. Meteorite, Turn of Frog, both reasonable. Yeah, Bloodseeker it is. Think about Bloodseeker with a Cone of Flame. Kill 3 guys. This guy just turns into a monster. Big old 8-power dude. Alright, well there's a Flesh to Dust in here, which is quite powerful, and I would say a pretty good sign that black could potentially be open. It's also a Rough Rider, which is playable, but I would say Flesh to Dust is a pretty strong card in general, and fourth pick is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Alright. Choices now. Well, there's Necromancer's Assistant, but, you know, Leeching Sliver. Not that good, but cheaper than Necromancer's Assistant, and you can... The nice thing about Leeching Sliver is you can actually punish their life total without actually hitting them. That's what's so nice, because it makes them lose the life. It's also Thundering Giant. Not that great. Might makes right. Haven't seen somebody play this yet, and I certainly haven't. It's a little bit too win more, in my opinion. Eternal Thirst is playable as well, but I'm gonna try the Leeching Sliver. If I pick up another one, or I pick up a Belligerent Sliver, this could pan out okay. To me, it's just a little more exciting than the Necromancer's Assistant, since it's a 2-drop. Well, what do you know? Past a Belligerent Sliver. There's also a Forge Devil in here, but I mean, I do love Forge Devil. But I feel like we have the Leeching Sliver. Now, maybe we can try the Belligerent Sliver out. See if we can't make that work. I do really like Forge Devil a lot. That is a powerful card. That's tough. I'm going to take the Belligerent Sliver, even though I like Forge Devil more as a card, just because Belligerent... All these slivers are uncommon. So, picking them up can be greatly beneficial. I do like Hammer Hand a lot, but if we're going to be in the black territory, let's take the old Child of Night, because that's a nice 2-drop, and hopefully you can see Hammer Hands later, like this. Could also take the Willforged Golem, but I would say we are looking pretty aggressive, which makes the Hammer Hand a little bit more attractive of an option. Willforged Golem is fine. If I'm playing something aggressive, though, I'd rather just play cards like Hammer Hand. Lava Axe is a nice place to top out at as well, but yeah, I'm actually perfectly fine with a couple Hammer Hands. It's kind of nice to pick these up now, actually, because then I don't have to think about them later. And if I get a Brood Keeper, it's icing on the cake. So interesting that I have Belligerent and Leeching Sliver. I don't think I've ever had the two before, so that's kind of nice. Definitely fine with the Shadow Cloak here. It's a nice a nice creature to top out at. It's playable. Usually if you're super aggressive, Shadow Cloak can be the nice finisher you need to get that last 4 points of damage in. Alright, it would appear the black and red picks have dried up at this point, but I still think that's okay. The 10 picks we got are pretty solid. Ranger's Guile seems like it would be the most annoying against us, mostly because of the Flesh of Dust and Cone of Flame, I guess, but I don't know. In general, Ranger's Guile can be an annoying card to try and play around. Well, let's take the Statute of Denial. I haven't seen a very good mill deck yet, so I guess I'd rather not play against a counterspell than a mill card. I guess I did. No, I played against mill once. That's right. And I actually lost to it, but in my defense, well, I guess it's indefensible because it wasn't even a straight mill deck. I ended up losing to like Stormtide Leviathan out of the deck. Or Leviathan, excuse me. A lot of word corrections. Apparently I can't speak correctly. Eternal Thirst. Going to add that one. Not sure we're going to main deck it. I think we're going to let someone have the old Hydro Surge. We're going to pass that. Give a pretty clear signal. Hey, we're not in blue. I'm just going to go ahead and take this land instead. All right, someone's signaling someone's definitely signaling, hey, I'm not in green. Take this Carnivorous Moss Beast. But unfortunately, at this point, I feel pretty committed to black-red. I don't have to be. If I open some bonkers green rare, I might be able to switch into green-red fairly comfortably. But I'd like to play black-red, just based on the pool we have currently. I feel like I'm a little bit more married to red than I am to black, but I feel like I'm pretty well connected to both of them right now, so we'll see. Well, I opened Liliana Vess with no picture. That's interesting. She's got to be worth some tickets, I presume, and she's on color with us, so how can we not take her? Oh, wait. There's a Nightfire Giant in here? Well, that's painful. Yeesh. That's tough. That's tough. Oh boy. This is tough. Alright. PTQ. I say you take the Nightfire Giant. Swiss M15 Drafts. Liliana Vess. Carrion Crow and Child of Night also pretty good in here. And Scrapyard Mongrel, even though we don't have any artifacts. But yeah. Taking the Vess. Not looking back. Yes, I did just pass a Nightfire Giant. I'm sorry, everybody. Who knows? Maybe Liliana Vess will win me a game or two. We'll see. This is interesting. Well, geez. This is a really deep pack for us. I think we take the Covenant of Blood just because it's straight removal, but God, Necrogen Scudder is super aggressive. Inferno Fist is a fantastic card. I think Covenant's better just because it's such a big life swing. So I think I'm going to take the Covenant, but God, Inferno Fist, Necrogen Scudder are two really nice picks as well. I just feel like Covenant's better because, I don't know, 8-point life swing is such a big shot. It's a real game changer, you know? It's a nice way to finish someone off. Pretty easy Broodkeeper here, I would say. We don't have a 4-drop. We have a couple Hammer Hands already. We did pass an Inferno Fist, but we could see another one. We have the Eternal Thirst already, so Broodkeeper's just an amazing card. Curse Spirit and Torch Fiend, also pretty reasonable, but yeah, Broodkeeper all day. Love this card. And I always hate playing against it, and I feel like everybody else feels the same way too. When you plop down a Broodkeeper, it's like, ugh, I gotta kill that thing. Alright, not too many choices here, unfortunately. I think I'm actually going to take the Black Cat. I mean, Thundering Giant's, you know, presumably stronger, but we don't really have any need for another 5-drop. And I don't think I like Thundering Giant as much as Shadow Cloak. Evolving Wilds, I guess, is an option if I wanted to splash something, but let's just take the Black Cat. I could end up playing it. I don't really like it in this style of build where you're trying to be aggressive, since it's just not a very aggressive card, but we'll see. If we end up short on playables, I might need it. Alright, nice. Get a late Borderland Marauder. A welcome addition to this deck. And yes, I value it higher than the Witch's Familiar. It's cheaper and attacks for 1 more power. Seems like the direction our deck wants to go. Well, I mean, I could take a Kurd Chieftain. I did pass that Evolving Wilds, which makes me, I guess, regret the Black Cat a little bit, but we could still potentially see another one. Otherwise, I'd take the Torch Fiend, which is certainly playable, and sacrificing to destroy artifacts is pretty useful. Typically, if you're trying to be aggressive, splashing a 3rd color makes that plan a bit more difficult. But Kurd Chieftain is so strong, I certainly don't want to play against it. I think because, at worst, it's a Hill Giant, I'm going to take it. And if I can get an Evolving Wilds, I will throw in that and a Forest to really make that work. Generator Servant seems pretty reasonable here. Rummaging Goblin would be fine as well, but I actually like Generator Servant, especially since we have some actual 5-drops to go into. I believe Conley recently made a deck that was running 4 Master of Cruelties and like 4 Lilianas and 4 Generator Servants, so I thought that was kind of cool. I was into it. I guess there was a reason earlier to take the Necromancer's Assistant over the Leeching Sliver. The Unmake the Graves makes the Necromancer's Assistant a little bit more useful. But, ooh, geez. Table Inferno Fist? That's pretty ludicrous. So yeah, we're going to take the Inferno Fist, especially since we have the Broodkeeper. Over the Carrion Crow, over the Lava Axe, over the Typhoid Rats, all of which are fine, but cannot deny the Inferno Fist. The power of the Inferno Fist. I'm liking where we're at. We're looking pretty strong. Really late Invasive Species and Shaman of Spring. Well, Invasive Species, I guess, is a surprising one, but we knew that green was open. We got that last pick, whatever, Carnivorous Moss Beast, so we knew it. Founder Street Denizen seems pretty playable in here. I'd prefer not to play it, but if I had to, I would. Certainly a Sign in Blood deck. The beauty of Sign in Blood being the fact that it can draw you cards or you can kill your opponent with it. That is some nice versatility, in my opinion. I prefer to not play the Miner's Bane. I'm trying to think. I still have yet to sideboard into Mind Rot. Guess I take the Miner's Bane. I don't know. Probably not ending up playing it, but whatever. Void Snare versus Charging Rhino. I mean, we have auras, so I guess Void Snare could be okay against us. Charging Rhino is good too, but the fact that it's a 5-drop makes it a little less good against us, since ideally we come out of the gate swinging pretty fast. Alright. So cards I'd like to cut. Black Cat, Foundry Street, Miner's Bane. Jeez. Just put that in sideboard now. Let's put these in. Let's just try and put these in sideboard for now. The Foundry Street I might leave in just because I guess we have a lot of red creatures, but yeah, I'd like to end up cutting that if possible. We're a bit short on creatures. I could take the Sacred Armory, which is fine. Shrapnel Blast would be fine if I had any artifacts, but I don't. Witch's Familiar is playable. It's not the ideal beatdown card, I think, is my main issue with it. Sacred Armory, I've played it, and it can be pretty good. It's a bit of a mana sink. It's a bit slow. It's a bit not productive. I guess that's... I'm trying to think where this card would shine the most. And would it be in a deck like this? Or maybe it's a deck where you have more evasion. I'm not sure. Just not sure. Guess we'll take the Witch's Familiar just because I'm a bit short on creatures, so I'd like to up that count if possible. Well, third Borderland Marauder seems pretty reasonable. Crippling Blight would actually be pretty good for this deck too, since it eliminates a blocker. But yeah, let's take the Marauder. Go real deep. Going real deep on those Marauders. It's a pretty weak pack for us. Could take the Zoffshade. It's playable. I don't really like it all that much. But there's really nothing else on color with us. Tyrant's Machine. But it's not aggressive enough. Zoffshade really isn't either, but it's a creature. It's on color. We'll take it. I think at this point I'd very much like to cut Foundry Street Denizen. We've just got a mix, enough of a mix of, ooh, well, it's a fairly late Lightning Strike. That feels good. Taking it over the Child of Night, which hurts a little bit, but that's, can never complain about the Lightning Strikes when you get them. Is that a foil too? For some reason I have a harder time telling foils on this new interface than I did on the last one. I think it's probably some setting that I have unchecked. Well, a couple options here. Crowd's Favor, which you know I love, but it's also with Crippling Blight, which gets rid of a blocker. I think actually for our deck, Crippling Blight's going to be better, believe it or not. Getting rid of a blocker is, I think, better than doing a nice combat trick, but for the most part, I'm always a big fan of Crowd's Favor. But in this case, I'm going to take the Crippling Blight. Alright, well, get rewarded with the Crowd's Favor anyway. So we'll go ahead and take that, despite the Crucible of Fire Broodkeeper synergy. I will have to start making cuts soon, and I would prefer to not cut creatures, since we are a bit short, oddly enough. But still going to take the Crowd's Favor. That much is for sure. Alright, here we'll take the Fester Gloom for the old sideboard. Gotta have that out for triplicate spirits and raise the alarm. That was a late Siege Worm. Alright. I mean, another Child is fine. I think we actually want the Carrion Crow. We'd prefer the Flyer to the nice Lifelinker. We don't have quite enough evasion, so I'd like to up that if possible. None of these cards really matter. I guess Glacial Crasher could be... That's like a tongue twister for me for some reason. I always want to say Glacial Crasher or Glacial Clasher or something like that. Maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know. What am I cutting? Everything looks good. Maybe I can't really cut creatures. How did I end up so short on creatures? I don't know. It's weird. I guess we'll hate and Titanic Growth. That can be good against us. Maybe I have to cut a hammer hand, but I really do like hammer hand. Maybe we cut the sign in blood. Could do that. We're just busy with other stuff. Tyrant's Machine, perhaps for sideboard. I don't think I can easily get away with 16 lands, especially if I'm going to make the Chieftain work, throw a forest in there. I'll still throw a forest in the deck just for the off chance that I get it as well as the Chieftain. Yeah, I think we're going to cut the Sign in Blood. It's not that I dislike it, it's just I don't feel comfortable cutting creatures when our count's only 14. So there's that. Maybe I don't play the Zoff Shade and opt for a Miner's Bane instead. And maybe you're wondering why, but it's because Zoff Shade, I don't like the mana intensity of it. This is a little less, I mean, it's more expensive, but you always have the 6 power. Does that make sense? I don't need to run Eternal Thirst, even though we have the, what's its butt? Broodkeeper, but we've already got double Hammerhand Inferno Fist, so likely won't be needing. And actually in a pinch you can use the Crippling Blight. Well, why don't we pick up a foil Miner's Bane, and then we'll play that one instead. So I think we're cutting the Zoff Shade for that. I don't know what my last cut is. It's kind of challenging. Also, Generator Servant works better with Miner's Bane. You can get in for 6 on turn 4, which is pretty good. Miner's Bane's not that good, though, I admit. I mean, I could opt for the Foundry Street Denizen instead, I guess, because we are that kind of aggressive, but I don't like this card. I still don't like that card. I've yet to see Profane Memento played. I think that's not very common. Not going to play the Crucible of Fire. Really have to make one more cut. And I would prefer it to not be a creature. So maybe it's the Hammer Hand, but I'm not sure. I mean, I do want all the fuel for the Broodkeeper. I don't really want to cut any of my 5-drops. I mean, if I was to cut any of them, I guess the Shadow Cloak would be the one, but I don't feel comfortable doing that just because, once again, I'm so short on creatures right now. And I think we're just going to have to end up playing all of these creatures, so I can't really rightly cut any more creatures. I mean, maybe there's an argument for cutting a creature if I'm running the Sign in Blood, because you're a little more justifiable if you have card draw to have a little bit lower creature count, but we're trying to be fairly aggressive, I think. We're just going to have to, I think we're going to have to cut something else. I guess it's the Hammer Hand. Maybe the Crowd's Favor. As much as I love Crowd's Favor, I guess it does seem less good when you've got a Broodkeeper and you want to get rid of blockers and stuff. I guess that's justifiable. Alright, so I guess I'll run Hammer Hand in this deck over Crowd's Favor, mostly because of how aggressive we are, which is still pretty aggressive. If you look at our 2-drops, it's primarily creatures, so 7 2-drop creatures is pretty nice. We are going to run a forest, but only one. I'm not going to go overboard for the Kurd Chieftain and disrupt our mana base any more than we have to. We are more red than black, but we do have more double black than double red. I guess we have the same amount, but I'll probably end up doing 9-7-1. 9-7-1. Let me sort by color and make sure that that's going to work for me. Yeah, I think it will. I mean, you only need 1 red to operate, and you would hope with 9 sources that you could see a red source in your opening hand. I think 971 is going to work for me. It does feel weird not running the crowd's favor just because I love that card so much. Despite some people, I feel like there were a couple of commenters that were like, card's not very good, but I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, I think Hammerhand in this deck with the Broodkeeper especially makes it the better pick. I don't feel comfortable cutting Liliana either because it's a Planeswalker. It's on color. You can not Demonic Tutor. You can Vampiric Tutor kind of with it. I guess Vampiric Tutor would be lose 2 life, but basically you get to search your library for something useful. 14 creatures, like I said, a bit low. A bit low. I don't feel like cutting anything else to bring in a 15th creature, really. We could separate to look at stuff, but I don't know. I think we're going to keep it like this. So let's do the lands. Did they say a forest? I doubt they would, yeah. So we'll do 971. I think that's going to work for me. And this deck's pretty good. A little bit short on creatures, but good, powerful spells. Some nice early creatures for good pressure in the beginning. I think this deck could do some things for us, but we shall find out. So I shall see you round 1.